let me introduce you to the Tsurumi process equipment. Starting over here with the bar screen. We've got two different kinds of bar screens. We've got a rear screen bar screen, which is what this is right here. We also have the front screen bar screen. In the rear screen, which is what this is, the sprocket and chain are typically not down into the water. So we're talking about medium to small size channels in wastewater or food processing where you have floating debris that you need to screen out. So these are the screens back here. The rake is here, and this is what's part of our self-cleaning mechanism. The rake actually comes down and rakes up the screen on the back side, and then we'll dump that refuse into a collection bucket on the back side. The front screen is the same thing, except the rake comes in from the bottom and pulls, and that's mostly good for any kind of debris that's floating on top of the water stream. And this one is more, the rear screen is more for use when there are debris down on the bottom of the channel or floating in the middle of the channel. So they're both used for removing unwanted debris and particles. And based on the screen spacing and the gallons per minute flow that you have, we can size the screen for you. The size of the channel has everything to do with that. These rubber flaps kind of help take up the space in a larger channel. Moving over to the mixer. We have stainless steel mixers, we have cast mixers. This is a stainless steel MRL mixer. The L stands for low water level. We can go put a mixer in as low a level as 20 inches. And this directs the flow, gives you a little bit more control over your flow, and also keeps it from whirlpooling on the surface in a low application, in a low level application. Mixers are used for a lot of different things, moving sludge around and stirring up material that needs to be suspended so that the pumps in the lift station can do their job. Sometimes you're not even using these in conjunction with the pump. Sometimes they could be in a remediation pond where you're just trying to move things from one side of the pond to the other, or move things around in a big open space. They can be installed with guide rails. They can also have a directional control where you can actually spin left to right with your mixer as it's operating to direct the flow in the direction that you want. You can use winches and or any kind of way to hang these mixers down in the water. Sometimes they're used multiple mixers per bin, just in case you need a little bit more mixing. This actually does a little bit of mixing too. This BER here is a self-aspirating mixer ejector combination. We've got a regular pump right here, one of our B-series style pumps. This air tube right here would go to the surface of the water, where the forced liquid coming out of the pump would create a vacuum in that tube, and we're going to pull air from the surface. So what we're trying to do here is directionally mix water, and we're going to add some oxygen to it as well. A lot of different reasons that you would want to do this, mostly talking about small batch reactors or any of those kinds of things that we need to mix and add a little bit of air to it. When you need a lot more air and oxygen transfer, we would go to the TRN. The TRN is also a self-aspirating aerator, and this is more of a fine bubble machine here. So the TRN goes all the way up to 55 horsepower. It can be small like this one, or it can be really nice and big. We've put these in tanks in breweries and wineries and wastewater treatment plants, in sludge ponds, because really what we're talking about here is fine bubble oxygen transfer. We want the bugs that are eating the waste to get all the oxygen they need to do their job. You're going to control algae growth with this. You can control odor with this. Mostly what you're doing is you're getting a little bit of vertical mixing as well as fine bubbling. So if this is also self-aspirating, like I said, just like the BER, but if you wanted to use this deeper than say 18 or 19 feet, which is about the limit of the self-aspiration, you can actually hook this up with a blower. So you could put a blower and force air down into this. One of the features of this that makes it last longer than a lot of other submersible aerators is because of the way the air is introduced here. There's a chamber here where we're actually creating an air barrier between the pumped liquid and our seals. So we're not seeing any of the media, any of the sludge that might be involved in these ponds, and they're not getting to the seals, so our seals last a lot longer. This is a really nice piece of equipment that we really have a lot of good customers that love the TRN. Over here, the FSP, this is the floating scum skimmer. This bell right here is where the scum comes in, and what we're going to try to do with this is remove oil, foam, or anything else that might be floating on top of a pond or in some kind of a holding tank. So right here, we're forcing air on the discharge past this and creating a suction on the bell. So we're going to actually use these big orange float balls here to adjust the water level, or to adjust the level of the pump with the surface of the water. You don't want too much water. You want to get what's on top of the water and pull it off. That's why we're calling it a scum skimmer. We want to remove the scum, the foam, the algae, the duckweed, food particles, whatever it is. This has, you can, the dairy farmers love this because they can remove fat off the surface of the water in their ponds, and they can take and clean that up a little bit. This comes in single phase and 3-phase. This is a nice, easy, lightweight, easy to install, easy to move and carry, very portable piece of equipment that we see a lot of people out in the agriculture market and in some pond remediation want to use this. This is a floating decanter, the FHP. This big piece right here is just your floating mechanism that keeps that pump at a certain level or keeps it near the surface, depending on what you want. You can install this floating free on the surface, tethered with maybe rope or chain, or you can actually put it on a rail system and lower it down. The point is to basically remove the clean water between sludge layers, underneath the sludge layer on the top, above the sludge layer on the bottom. So you have a way to get just the water you want and not everything, all the dirt and grime and sludge that builds up at the bottom. Now, the way we keep this from sinking down into the sludge and sucking into that and contaminating the whole process here is the sensors, these little sensors right here. And so between the sensors, they're looking for each other. The water has to be clear enough for them to see each other, and the pump will continue to run. Once these photo sensors can't see each other, then they'll shut the pump down, because you don't want to pull that sludge in. It's a self-cleaning mechanism. You can hook a hose up to the backside. Here's a little nozzle right here that you can hook up to. You have to supply a clean water source so that it can actually spray and wash off the sensors to keep them clean, because they can get fogged up and they can get a little bit dirty in there. So this is a useful tool in a lot of ways to, again, pull the good water that you want in between sludge layers without actually getting down into the muck and into the sludge. That's basically the process equipment from Tsurumi. We have engineering staff waiting to help you size and choose the right one for you. We have product managers that actually manage this product line that are experts in the field and have used these and have been involved in the engineering of these from time to time. But all you have to do is contact us. We'd love to work with you. Thank you.